Overlanding a Subaru requires some creative thinking to make use of all the spaces on here due to their smaller size. And with all the modifications I've done to the interior, I'm definitely using it to its full capacity, but there's one spot I've missed, the roof of my rooftop tent. That's why today we're going to be using all the space on top of my rooftop tent to mount a mount for my MaxTrax Extremes, as well as a 250 watt solar panel. This solar panel is going to run through my Bluetti Charger 2, which you've seen in this car, as well as power my power banks and keep the diesel heater and all my camera gear running for, well, pretty much as long as our adventures take us. And you're probably wondering, how exactly are we going to be doing this? Well, our Go Overland Expedition Mini actually has crossbars. So we're going to be utilizing the factory crossbars that come with the tent to mount, well, the mounts for the MaxTrax as well as the solar panel using some RV brackets. Before we go ahead and do any of the fun stuff, we got to first go ahead and install the crossbars. So the nice thing about these crossbars is they simply just mount on the T-track in here. So all we got to do is take a couple of these square nuts, slide it into the T-track, and then take some M8s and go ahead and bolt it together. And now with our crossbars on our tent, we can go ahead and, well, measure the crossbars. So we need 80 centimeters between the two crossbars for our solar, because the solar doesn't have a flexible mounting bracket like we do on the MaxTrax. So that is going to dictate how far our crossbars are. And actually, I'm pretty good at this. That's almost exactly where we need it to be. We need 80 centimeters center to center. That's 80 centimeters. Now I just want to make sure we're lined up relatively here. We're at 29, and watch this, we're at 26. So I'll move everything just a little bit forward, and then we can go ahead and, well, look at our solar panel. Now let's look at the panel. So this is, as I said, a 250 watt solar panel that, well, Flat 4 Off-Road provided to me because we can bring in Rich Solar, which is a well-known solar panel brand. And, well, we can get them at a pretty good price to put on the Forester. They are used for RVs and stuff, so they are meant for more harsh conditions, vibrations stuff. So it'd be interesting to see how they hold up to, well, our pretty crazy adventures in our Forester. That said, you're probably wondering how we're going to get this on there. There's a couple different ways. You could probably just use T-nuts, but I'm using these nice little L brackets. So they have a little clamp that goes on the inside, clamps down, and then we're using some more hardware on the other side that goes ahead and allows us to slide it along the T-track. So again, using those T-tracks to mount this and make it easy to move it around, because this is almost the same length as my rooftop tent, which is perfect, but width-wise, it's only about 3/4. So that gives us enough room for those traction boards. And, well, those traction boards will put on probably the top side, because again, when I'm up there, you'll see I often stand on my rooftop tent. So I need to be able to access traction boards, and, well, I'll put it all on the far side where the latches are. And then I just slid some bolts into the T-track here, and now it's time to lift the solar panel up and try to align it with everything. And that was a lot easier than I was expecting, but because everything's on T-tracks, you can kind of just shimmy and shake it, and there is a little bit of tolerances on here, so we can actually go ahead, move it. I'm gonna line up with the edge of the bars here, because when we open the tent, because the tent pivots right here, it's actually gonna have lots of room. It would be more optimal to put it on the other side so it's a little bit higher. The issue with having it a bit higher is then I can't walk on my roof when I put the MaxTrax on there or when I close this tent. As you guys know, well, I got my diesel heater here and I got my winter insulation in here. So the tent is pretty thick with that insulation. So I kind of need to persuade it a bit and kind of step on it when I'm closing up the tent. So that's why we need a little bit of a walking path. But other than that, this thing looks so sweet with the solar panel on it. It looks like a real overlander. I don't think it's going anywhere. It's mounted on there nice and solid with the T-tracks, and you can actually see the rubbers kind of squished down. So I'm confident that this is good. We will run our wiring. So we've got our wiring right here. Obviously, I have some extensions for the car. What I'll do is I'll plug the extensions in right here, do a little bit of zip tying to kind of zip tie everything up here, and then we'll run them right down, right into the car through the rear hatch. And then with our extension cables here, we can go ahead and plug it into the solar. You notice that they are kind of stiff. It is making it hard to run it. I wanted to run it inside the car, but for right now, I'm not gonna worry about that. We're gonna just test it and see how it works. So we're gonna take our solar connectors here, make sure we've got the right connections, which somehow we don't. And then I will go ahead and plug it in. So I'm gonna swap these so that, yeah, positive. One end is different. I don't know which one is different, but I'll just swap them on here on the Bluetti charger, and I'll just make note of it that that positive is negative on the connector. And with our solar panel all mounted up and all solid on there, that was pretty easy, but the MaxTrax are even easier. As I said, we have these mounting brackets. I just put a couple more nuts on the back of here, and then it's as simple as taking these. Obviously, these are a little long, and I will cut them down eventually, but I just want to make sure this concept works, and slide that on there, and then we can adjust it back and forth, depending on how much room we need. I think it's about halfway. And then we have our mount for our MaxTrax. It's so easy. And just like that, we have, well, put our roof to use. I think it's a pretty good, efficient route. And as I said, it's really easy because we're using T-Tracks on all of it. Makes it so that I can adjust it, change it, or do really whatever I want with it. And with that said, that is gonna wrap up today's install on our Subaru Forester. If you wanna see how much that solar actually puts out when paired with our solar panel on our roof and see how much power we can actually generate on a camping trip, make sure you're subscribed. Also, let me know if you would do anything different or if there's something that you would mount on the roof that I haven't yet. Because we have our Starlink, we'll have everything else on there as well. But I'm always curious, am I missing something that you guys usually put on your vehicle? And while you're down there, don't forget to go ahead and check out, well, Flat for Off-Road for all your adventure Subaru needs, including MaxTrax, Go Overland tents, solar panels, and everything else, as well as the channel memberships for some exclusive perks. And I'll be seeing you guys on the next adventure where we get to put it to use.